Today we're going to become more exact about our lines and our predictions. So, in order to graph an equation of best fit, which is either a line or a curve, these are your steps in the calculator that you need to follow. So you're going to press Stat Enter. Okay, and enter means edit. And then you're going to put in your data. So this is the data from our first example. So you can see that I've already put them in. All right, so now we're going to go, we need to determine whether it's a line or a curve if it doesn't tell us. So we're going to go to our y equals, and we're going to turn plot 1 on. So this is the only time where we're really going to put on plot 1 is when we're doing statistics. So we're going to go up and press enter, so now it's highlighted. And then I'm going to press zoom 9. So zoom, and then 9 is for stat because we're doing statistics. And then that puts all of the points. So from yesterday, we learned that if it looks like a line, it's linear. So if it's linear, we need to use stat calc 4. So we know this is linear because it makes a line. So it tells us to use stat calc 4. So stat, go over to calc, and then number 4, because that looks like a line. And then we're going to press enter or down until we hit calculate, and that's what we're looking for. So we need to write down what A and B equals. So A equals 1.31. You want to go to 2 decimal points when you're rounding. And then B equals 14.54, again with rounding to 2 decimal places. So then as an equation, it tells us y equals ax plus b, kind of like y equals mx plus b. We're going to fill in our blanks. Y equals 1.31x plus 14.54. All right, so we wrote down our equation, so that's step 5. And then it says we need to graph it in y equals and see if that looks right. So we're going to go to our y equals, and I'm going to type that in. Alright, so I'm going to hit graph, and that line is pretty well going through all the points, so I know I did it correctly. If it looks really weird, then we did something wrong. Alright, so it looks correct, so yes, I'm done. Alright, so now let's move on to our second example. So again, we're going to go stat enter or edit. You can see I've already put in our table. So that's what we do. So make sure this goes in L1 and L2. That's our X and our Y axis. All right. So then it says go to our Y equals. So I'm going to go to my Y equals. Then it says turn on plot 1. So I'll go up and turn this on. So now you can see it's highlighted. And then it says zoom 9. So zoom 9 for stats. All right. So that looks pretty linear to me. It's kind of curving a little bit, but I really think that's a line. If not, we'll figure it out when we graph it. All right, so then we decided it was linear, so we need to use stat calc 4. So stat, go over to calc, and then number 4 for line. And again, we're going to go down or press enter. All right, so we got A equals 1.92 and B equals 2.81 with rounding, and then I'm going to write it as an equation. So y equals 1.92x plus 2.81. Alright, so then last step, we need to graph it in y equals and see if that looks okay. Alright, so I'm going to type in my equation. Alright, so there's my equation. Let's graph it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So even though this line doesn't go through those 2 points, that's okay. It's very, very close. If it wasn't close, then we would want to try quadratic maybe. Alright, so let's move on to our last example. So again, stat enter, or stat edit. You can see I've already put this table in my calculator. So now I'm going to go to my y equals, turn on plot 1, and then zoom 9 for zoom stat. So we can see this is very much making a U. So that a U means it's quadratic. Alright, so if I know it's quadratic, then I need to use stat calc 5. So stat, go over to calc, and then you can see number 5 says quadratic, that U shape. So I'm going to go down and press enter, and then I'm going to write that information down. So A equals negative 2.93, B equals 42.89, and C equals negative 72.99 with rounding. So again, I need to write it in my equation, ax squared plus bx plus c, and we've seen that before when we factored. All right, so I'm going to write it as an equation, filling in my x squared and my x. All right, so then again, my last step is to graph it and see if it looks correct. So I'm going to go into my y equals, and I'm going to type in that equation. And I'm going to graph. Alright, so that is very close to or going through each of the points on our picture, so we know we did it correctly. And that's how you find the equation of best fit, whether it's linear or quadratic.